Namaste, everyone. Welcome to Light, Laughter, and Lattes. My name is Geri Habstritt. I'm a medical intuitive, Avesa quantum healer, and transformational teacher. Also a Self-Ascension intuitive counselor. And so glad to have you here today. Welcome, everyone, on Oneness Talk Radio Facebook, Oneness Talk Radio YouTube. And if you're listening via podcast on Spotify, Anchor, or any of the affiliates, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And if you ever feel called to come and watch this live, come on over to Oneness Talk Radio, Facebook, or YouTube. Sometimes I'm doing practices or meditations or things where it's good to have a visual. So if you want, that's where you can grab a visual. And so if anyone is listening today and wants to join in, I welcome that and I love that. You can say something in the chat and it'll appear. If you have questions, medical intuitive questions, ascension symptoms, you just want to join in the conversation, love it. Put a name, put your hi in there, and I'll do my best to respond to you. So today is like a Gateway Wednesday. For whatever reason, my shows have turned out to be on all these days that are gateways through the month. Gateway, what does that mean? It's like an opening, right? It's an opening or an expansion to something new. So I don't know if you're all feeling a little bit different today than other days. I know I am, but lately we are all being called to constantly up level. So every day is like a new experience and a new journey to navigate with these physical bodies. So it's an adventure always, right? So each day has a numerological number to it. And it corresponds to an energetic meaning and also corresponds to an area on our physical bodies. And so numerologically today is a 10, which is all manifest activity, but it's also, today it would be more about letting go of the mind and trusting the divine flow. So just releasing the mind and trusting what you're here to create, what you're being shown to create. And our minds can't even begin to comprehend our creative capacity and our creative nature. It tries to, but it can't. So ultimately, if we want to be the greatest creator ever, would be to release or relax the mind and just allow that creative energy to come through. And so that's the number of today. And fascinating enough, because we are in this gateway energy on this day, the energy is actually hitting us like right about here, right above star consciousness. And if you put your hands above your head and just kind of feel, you can actually feel where the energy of today is coming in. And for me, I can feel it right here. So you can just scan your body and the energy is about right here. So notice that can affect you in quite a few ways. Definitely it's affecting the mind. It can affect the senses because your senses are also there. It can affect, are you feeling distracted? I know I woke up feeling kind of tension in the neck, little pings in the head. And all of that is part of where the energy is coming in at today. And so there are some things you can do to assist that. If you're feeling distracted, if you're feeling pressure in the head or pressure, the senses, or a lack of clarity, one of the things you can do, a good practice for this, is called the Merkaba of the face. And all of our faces, so we chose our bodies for this lifetime, and we chose the face that we are going to have. And I don't know if you have had this experience, I know I have, where people have come up to me who I've just met for the first time and maybe have said, that face, wow, I feel like I've seen you before. Or I've had people come up to me and say, it's good to see your face. And I know that they were saying it soul talking to soul, not a physical thing like it's good to see your face. And it's because we all chose our face shapes because it has a certain shape that brings in memory. It's a geometric thing, and it'll help activate people. And so that's what this Merkaba of the face does, but it also will clear the energy. It'll help stabilize your body in the third dimension, but your ability to hold multidimensional space. It will offer you great clarity. And so I'm going to teach you this practice. So if you can imagine a pyramid at the top, starting right about here, and it draws going out on the side of the eyes, and the bottom of the pyramid's at the mouth. So there's one pyramid that goes this way, and then there's another pyramid that goes the other way. It's pointing down, this pyramid, and it goes up this way, and it gets drawn across at the eyes. So there's a pyramid that points down, and then a pyramid that points up. And that's the Merkaba of the face. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to activate that Merkaba. And we want to touch and release our fingers like this, because in doing so, that activates your energy, kind of ignites it. It gets it ignited. Okay. And then one finger is going to go down here, right at like the crook of that, like that kind of, there's a hole there, an indent in the neck. The other finger, middle fingers, go up at the spot where the top of the pyramid is. So we're really holding the tops of both pyramids. One finger on the pyramid facing up on the point, and one finger on the pyramid facing down, holding that point. And we're just going to breathe and take a breath in and relax with an exhale. And now at the next breath in, we're going to spin the Merkaba with a breath. So we're going to breathe in. Hands go out and you spin the Merkaba. And if you do that, I know you'll feel it. Now that practice will bring in great clarity. And if you're getting caught in chaos, you're getting caught in drama, that's a good way to just activate the spots, breathe up, and spin that energy out. And so excellent practice right now when we're at this time where we've got this extra energy that's coming in the head, which could be unsettling for many, many, many people. And not only unsettling, but very uncomfortable. So I invite you to try that often. And so the energy of where we are at right now. So we're just coming out of February, which was a choice month. And then we ended February with this full moon. And it was like the moon said, okay, let me show you, based on your choice, what's left there that needs to be resolved so you could be in the place of that choice. And then we moved right into March, where we're in the month of awareness. So that full moon was on Saturday. Now we're Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, like 4 days, perfect balance. I don't know if you're feeling perfect balanced or not, but we're 4 days after that full moon. So we've been giving an opportunity to be aware of what we've been shown. What was your choice? And now where are you with that choice? And how is it speaking to you? Because everything will be talking to you right now. All the reflections outside, the relationships, your physical body, your mental body, every part of you is making you aware of that choice you made. And so did you choose to expand or up level in consciousness? Did you choose to stay where you are at? I know as we were coming around that period of time, every show that I watched was people staying in the same patterns over and over again. And do you want to leave this pattern, or do you want to move on? And it's always a little bit scary to move on to something new, because anything unfamiliar is the unknown, so how do we not feel a little bit anxious about something that we haven't navigated before. So many of us have said yes to that, not knowing what we were saying yes to. And now we're at the place, well, okay, well, now we have to learn how to navigate our choice. And I don't know about you, but Monday was super challenging when I woke up. Wow, my body didn't work the same. Nothing worked the same. My mind didn't work the same. And so when you make these choices, it affects every level of your being. And then now you have to figure out, how to work with all that's happened to you. And so there's a lot of people experiencing heightened ascension symptoms, heightened emotional issues, heightened mental mind freaking out. And so this is where we enter what we're calling this year is the 5 medicines, or the 5 spiritual, not the 5 spiritual bodies, but the 5 bodies of our being that we all have. And so one of those bodies is the spiritual body. One is the emotional body. One is the physical body. And one is the spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, and one is our consciousness. So the level of consciousness we're at, which is the 3rd dimension, 5th dimension, 7th dimension, any of those. And so we're gonna go into each of these bodies to really check in with them and talk about ways of checking in, and talk about ways where we can navigate these bodies, because this year is the year of the 5, and we've got the 5 bodies. So this is the year where all these aspects need to harmonize together to allow us to keep expanding. And the more we can bring our consciousness and awareness to these 5 bodies and keep them all in check and keep them all in line and keep them all flowing, the easier it will be for us to navigate through this year. And so let's go to the spiritual body first. So the spiritual body would be about what is our soul trying to communicate with us in regards to the choice that we've made. And so that's where the awareness comes in. We're in the month of awareness. Now we can kind of be aware of what our soul is saying. Hey, this is what's up for you based on the choice you've made. And so, what is the wisdom you are feeling or experiencing around your choice? And one way to get to this, my favorite way, is through journaling. So you may just sit down with the journal and just start writing, one thing that I'm being shown is, and another thing I'm being shown is, and another thing I'm being shown is, and just keep writing. Keep writing what you're seeing, what you're experiencing these last few days. And it's everything, right? What are the relationships reflecting to you? What are your friends reflecting to you? What are your, what you go out and do? It could be your experience with someone at the checkout counter. It might be your experience as you're navigating traffic. Are you stuck in a lot of, traffic jams? Are you running past accidents? Or, all of these things are signs. Are there children around you? Are there babies around you? Everything carries an energy and a symbol. Babies are about rebirth. Hey, you have lots of babies. I'm rebirthing myself. Or why are these, for me, it's a lot of teenagers around me. They just show up out of nowhere, so all of these things carry symbolism, carry meaning, animals, colors, everything. And sit down and write them in, include them as part of your writing. Like, what am I being shown? What am I being told? What is it that I need to know from this experience? I can share with you that when I went out Saturday night, so that would be the night of the full moon. And during a full moon, we're always shown what we're full of. And so the energy is the fullest. So whatever you have that's up for healing or revealing will be expressed the most during a full moon. And I go out dancing often. And so I was with a group of friends out dancing, and we literally took our tables and pushed them right to the edge of the dance floor so that, no one could stand in front of us, because it's, we like to go early so we can get a good spot so we can see what's going on. And so we set it up so no one could stand in front of us. Well, halfway through the night, someone came along that I didn't know and stood right in front of me on the dance floor, so I couldn't see the dance floor. And this person was, brunette, had dyed her hair very, very blonde, had really fake eyelashes on, really big fake eyelashes, obviously fake eyelashes, had breast enhancements, and had a blouse on that was just barely covering up the essentials. And so by all means, the person next to me said, I don't recall ever being that superficial, do you? So this is a conversation I'm having. And so there's a part of me going, okay, why am I here? Why am I in this? Why is someone I don't know, who's got this superficial thing going on, standing in front of me? And the first reaction is, I'm a little bit frustrated because I can't see, and I came here early, and she comes here late, and now she's blocking my view and she doesn't care. And the other thing is, I'm noticing the superficialness. And I've always been one who's been very, 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 very natural. So it seemed maybe inauthentic to the way I felt like I was expressing. And but I didn't think a whole lot about it, and I just kind of let it go. So the next day I go home and I do a Cards of Clarity reading. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Cards of Clarity or not. I'll do a reading at the end of this show. The Cards of Clarity are these. They're very simple cards. And whenever you want clarity on something or an experience, you can pull some cards. And they really lift you up and give you the higher wisdom of something. And so I kept pulling what's called the Jovial card. And I want to read this to you because it's such an important lesson. And it was so key to this experience that I was having. So the Jovial card is beauty is everywhere. And it's time to begin acknowledging this in every moment. A simple way to begin is with the declaration, all is beauty. This one step will open a doorway to the greater recognition that every expression of the divine has its own beauty. The key here is every expression, not just those through the filter of this world we deem as beautiful, based upon an illusionary perspective. Call forth and claim your universal mind through seeing the beauty in all. This step along the way will unravel many myths that are trying to hold you in their grip. Perhaps they have their beauty as well. And so the aha really, really came to me today as that full moon energy, is working through, and the energies are working through us. Like, wow, there was someone that I perceived as superficial, and it was a superficial beauty, literally blocking my vision so that I couldn't see the dance. So talk about the metaphors here for the dance of life, my vision being blocked because I'm not able to see the true beauty in some things yet. I'm still seeing things at, say, a limited perspective, that I need to increase my awareness and still be able to see the greater beauty that's happening underneath the surface of things, as opposed to the superficial beauty that may be being shown. So that's the spiritual part of the spiritual bodies, is to have these experiences and being able to decipher what is it that I'm not seeing here. And I had a huge aha moment when I really realized what this gal who stood in front of me was doing for me. I mean, I called this energy in because I needed the experience. And as I heal myself through that experience, not only do I assist me, but I assist her. And she's just there through probably an unconscious agreement. And so it's beautiful once you get the ahas, because the ahas give yourself a healing, and they also offer a healing to whoever else was tied into that experience. So even the person who stood next to me, who said, I don't recall ever being that superficial. We were all in this creative experience together as a healing moment. And so that's an example of the spiritual body, what you can do. Get out the journal and write it. Or for me too, it comes when I move my energy, right? Because the full moon comes and brings the energy through. If you do an activity, maybe it's meditating. For me, a lot of times it's at the dog park when I'm just, it's kind of like meditation. I pick up the ball, I throw it for my dog. Pick up the ball, throw it for my dog. And a lot of insight comes to me during this time because I'm out in nature. I'm alone, I'm not thinking about a lot. And so the ahas really start coming in. So that's the spiritual body. The emotional body. The emotional body can be a big one right now. I know a lot of people are captivated by their emotional body, especially after a full moon, because they are wonderful at bringing up all the emotions. I mean, there's times where physically, and I am very empathic, where I would physically get big at a full moon, and then it would take 3-4 days to release all that the moon brought up, right? And so that might be you too. And so that's what it does on an emotional level. So what can you do? You could exercise to move the energy. You can spin to move the energy. You can scream it out. You can cry it out. You can stomp it out. There's a lot of things to do that you can do to care for the emotional body. But the key thing is to just let it out, whatever way you feel called to, and release it. And again, journaling is beautiful to do for the emotional body to get in touch with some of those deeper emotions. And then to clear your energy field, there's the container practice that I've shared before. And there's also, baths. You can put Epsom salt or sea salt. It's another great way to clear the emotional body. And that's a good way to really take care of that aspect of yourself. And there might be times where you just have to, you don't know what the emotion is. You just feel edgy. You just feel anxious. There's something there, but you don't really know what or what to do with it. So then it's just a hand on the heart and just talk to your body. What's here? What is it that I need to know now? What is it that I can do for you to help you feel better? And just talk to your emotional body. And as soon as you put your hand in your heart and take a few breaths, you will get a sense or a feeling or a knowing, sometimes just tears, whatever it might be. But that's a really good way to just check in with the emotional body. And the emotional body is very much tied to the ego and very much tied to the mind as well. So, hi, Christine. Thank you for writing in. Hand and heart. Yes, hand and heart. Beautiful. And if you know the Avesa breath too, that is awesome as well. That's just a bonus to the hands on the heart. Breathing in the Ave and exhaling a Sa. There's just so much magic in that. And so those are some things you can do to take care of the emotional body. Okay, so the next body would be our mental bodies. And right now, if you've said yes to an expansion, and which means you're headed somewhere you haven't been before. The mind is probably going to freak out. The mind is probably triggered right now because you're in a zone like, okay, I'm going somewhere. I don't know where I'm going yet. I'm not there yet. And the mind wants to know. The mind wants to put it in a box. The mind wants to take action. The mind wants to do what the mind does best, and that's to do this with it. And you can't do that. You can't do that with expansion. You can't do that with shifting in consciousness. There's no place for the mind in that. So the mind freaks out and it triggers the ego and it triggers the inner child. And so the mind can be doing its thing right now. And especially when we have that energy coming in right about here today, right? So we've got extra energy already now being added to our busy heads. So you might notice distractions, you might notice headaches, you might notice all of those kinds of things right now. So a really good practice for the mind is we put one hand on our hearts. Ideally, we want to move out of our heads and into our hearts. So one hand on our heart automatically says, okay, I'm moving down here, right? And then one hand on the head. And just take a big breath, breathing in and exhaling. Now, if you just sit like this and start breathing rhythmically, breathing in and breathing out, what's going to happen is that your head and your heart are going to just naturally balance themselves together. And then you won't have all this energy just in your head, but you'll have it in your heart as well. So there'll be a balance here that's created. So, okay, so you may have noticed a shift there just doing that. So that's one way. And it's so beautiful when we know the ascended numerology of these days, like today. Okay, today's a day where the energy is coming in at the head. I need to be mindful, so, and you'll feel it if your mind's active. Hand on heart, hand on head, breathe rhythmically, and work on balancing those energies. And you don't have to work at it. All you have to do is breathe. And so that's easy enough. Okay, so another one of our medicine bodies is our physical body. And the physical body is really speaking now for so many people. I can tell you that on Monday, I think Monday was the 1st, right? We've made our choice. The full moon came and now we're in the awareness of it. My body I had so many Charlie horses. I couldn't even bend over without getting a Charlie horse. I was getting Charlie horses in places I didn't even know I could get them. And I tried to sit Indian style to do yoga. Normally not a problem. I've even done Lotus before. I couldn't even sit. Crossing my legs was the hardest thing that I'd ever done. It was even painful. And then I tried to go skiing yesterday, and I just couldn't even hardly do it. But the Friday before that, I was on the top of my ski game. And all there was an energetic experience between Friday and Monday. And I had to quit early. My legs were in pain. And so there's pieces of your body that are speaking to you based on the choice you made. And it's all based on the choice you made. And for me, the legs are connected to the first chakra. The first chakra is all about safety. And there's a piece of me that's called in complete freedom, complete flying, complete freedom, which complete freedom is really a lift into the 7th dimension because it's a release of judgment. Because are we truly free if we're still holding judgments to others and towards ourselves? We're not. You can't be free until you're completely released. Until you've completely released judgment. And so in order to fly, right, if you think about flying, you're almost releasing your legs. Your legs is your connection to the earth. that's your connection, your root chakra to the ground, keeping you grounded. And you're basically saying, if I want to fly, I'm releasing this, and I'm trusting that I can carry on in this way without, right, the first chakra. So my first chakra was speaking loudly. My legs were not working. They weren't bending. I couldn't ski. I didn't have energy with them. So I found myself today having to really give them attention, like putting lotion on my hands and breathing love, the Avesa breath, breathing love into my hands and rubbing it on my legs and just saying, thank you, thank you. Thank you, legs, for allowing me to dance. Thank you for carrying me through this life. Because that's the job of our legs, right? Moving us from the past, moving us into the future, into our dreams, allowing us to ski, dance. I mean, there's so many things that I love to do. I'm very active on this beautiful planet that we have, and I'm so grateful for my legs to allow me to do this. And I had an experience when I went through a 7-year divorce, 7 years in court, had to leave where I lived and grew up and moved to Idaho, where I knew no one. I knew no people. I was starting out fresh. And really, that's uprooting where you left and going somewhere else. And my legs kind of went out on me. I could hardly walk. There was almost no walking. It was so slow for me everywhere, everything I did. So that's a part of the root chakra. It's part of our beingness and feeling safe to be seen in the expression of who we are. And so if you have agreed to be more free, and you're a light worker especially, there's a part of you that's probably going to feel not safe in coming out to be the truth of who you are. And you think about many of us who are on this path, how many lifetimes we maybe had where we were killed for being in our truth, where we were killed for making herbs and sharing them with people, where we were killed just for giving love and energy to someone, and we were called a witch for it. I know I've had many of those lifetimes. And then in this lifetime, I can recall, speaking my truth to my mom and being slapped for it when I was a teenager. And I know she'd feel really bad about that now, but that was an experience, it was a carryover over a fear and an anger that I can't be who I really am. And I got killed for it all these times. And now here I am, and I'm honestly wanting to share what I feel is true to me. And, I got put down for it. And so many of us have gone through that, and how many times when you were in your younger years, did you share something that you thought was true and authentic to you, and you got maybe made fun of or laughed at for it, right? So all these things start to come up. I can share that when I went through my divorce process, I had journals. I had written in so many journals. I probably had, 20 or 30 of them. And at this time, things were talking to me. Everything was talking to me. The lakes were talking to me. The trees were talking to me. And I was having all these experiences, as you do when you first start to wake up. It's like everything is speaking to you to course you to keep going forward, further and further forward. And so I had all these journals where I'd written all these things in. And plus I was taking the quantum healing classes. So I had insights and out-of-body experiences, you name it, that all went in these journals. And it took so much courage just to write this stuff in the journal, because there was for me an unconscious part of me that thought, what if someone read these? And I think I know that I'm not the only one that feels this way, because I lead workshops and many people really have a hard time with journaling, and that might be the unconscious fear around it. But anyways, during my divorcing process, my ex-husband, it was my husband at the time, stole all my journals, had all the pages photocopied, and he went around in about a 200-mile radius. Between the two of us, we knew everyone, because we were high school together and our families knew everyone. So we knew everyone in a 200-mile radius. And this was a small town in Minnesota. And he shared all these pages of my journals with people, friends of mine, everyone I knew. And I didn't even know who was all seeing these. And when he returned the books, but he kept the copies, I actually found notes in my journals of people that had written wackadoo, weirdo, and things like this. And so, wow, that was a huge experience of me where I was so fearful to share what I know and was true, and I dared to do it, and I poured it out on paper, and then that was stolen and mocked, and later even used in court to try show that I wasn't a good mom for my children. And this was my 2020 version of being burnt at the stake, I guess you could call it. But the gift of this was, well, now what's there to do? Everyone knows who I am now, right? It was a very, it was like being burnt at the fire in another way. All those emotions and fears around stepping into the truth of who I was had to come out, had to be released and resolved and healed. So it was a healing for me. And I think many of us have these fears, these innate fears about being the truth of who we are. I mean, we're different. We're outside of the box. And I freely tell that to people now. I don't have a hard time with that. But the root chakra, as we continue to keep lifting and lifting and lifting and lifting, the root, the part of us that needs that safety and beingness to feel safe to do this, needs loving attention. And I can tell you that this root chakra correlates to things in your house. It correlates to things in your car. It is very much connected to the oven. If your root chakra goes out, you will have a hard time regulating cold and hot in your body. You will get ice cold. You might get hot. For me, I've wrecked a brand new oven. Brand new, and the people at the apartments keep coming over to try fix it. They've been here now 3 times in the last week with new parts. They think they've found the part, and I just kind of chuckle because these are things that'll happen. Even as I was having a hard time not seeing things clearly, the mirrors kept going out in my car. At one point, my left mirror, right mirror, and overhead mirror all had things happen to them within the same week. And there was something that I wasn't clearly seeing. So these are all ways that you can bring complete awareness and love to your body. So when you have that awareness of your body parts, love them more, love them more. Put your hand on them like I did with my legs and just send that part of the body so much love. Ask the body part, whatever it is. Our body is like, it's intertwined with us, but yet it can be a separate entity. You can have a communication with your body and it will speak to you. And I know that sounds crazy, but try it. You can talk to your tummy, and I taught my son to do this, my kids to do this at a very young age when they'd have stomach aches. Put your hand on your tummy and just ask it, ask it why. And a young kid will so effortlessly just come out with the answer as to why. I mean, they're so wise and they just absolutely know. And so we can do that too. We just forgot that we can do that. And so love the body more right now. Love it as much as you can. Do self-love on the body meditations. The more, get massages too. I'm finding I'm needing to soak a lot in Epsom salts. I'm needing to go up into the mountains and get the high frequency energy. All that's up really high in high altitudes is really satisfying and uplifting and nourishing to a heightened frequency. And so if you can get up, and not only that, but you get clear vision, clear view, clear understanding from greater heights. And so that's something my body's calling for. Massages, great thing to do right now when you've just gone through an up-level transition and your body might be freaking out. Another way to really relax it. You can add hydrogen peroxide to your water. You can add baking soda to your water if you're taking baths. These are all things that'll help nourish your body in a really good way. And you might be finding that even you're being called to eat different foods right now. I know I'm being called to eat things very light, a lot of greens, adding liquid oxygen to my water, more oxygen, more minerals, things with more minerals in it, or adding minerals to your water. Finding that some things are harsh. I used to be a coffee drinker. Now coffee just feels harsh to my body. So I've switched over to Dandy Blend, and there's other beautiful substitutes out there, teas, whatever it is you choose. Your body will speak to you, and you can just call it in. You can just ask, what is good for me right now, and then watch what starts appearing. But these are all ways that we can communicate with our physical body. And it's so beautiful when you give yourself that attention, because we get so busy in our day doing our thing that we forget about these things. And really, these things are so basic and essential and important, especially when we're at a time of ascension and upliftment. So really just to tune in and listen. And the more you tune in and listen, the more answers you'll get. And the more you respond to those answers by doing something loving for yourself, it's like the body says, okay, I trust you now. And the more the body trusts you, the more that'll allow you to even go further. And so I hope this all makes sense. Physical body, and the last body is our consciousness. And that's just really where we reside now, whether it be the third dimension, the fifth dimension, seventh, or whatever. And you will go as far as your intention and as far as your ego allows you to go. And I just heard a beautiful song on this, but it's about releasing the mind, and you will find a place of freedom defined by your reason. And that's exactly how it is. Your ego will allow you to only go so far. The ego is connected with the inner child. So, which means there needs to be a lot of love done to that aspect of us that's still needing more love, to allow us to feel safe, to trust ourselves enough to let us go further, right? And so those are the 5 bodies. And those are all what are speaking right now after we've gone through this time of choice in this up-level experience in this full moon. Now we're headed into an equinox, which is going to be another big opportunity. So if we can consciously focus on these 5 bodies and do some of these things, we can make it easier for ourselves. And don't feel bad if you've missed out on something, or you don't feel like you're doing something right, or maybe you just said, nope, this level's not up level, not time for me. Okay, well, love yourself more, and there's going to be another opportunity around the corner. There's going to be plenty of them. So don't beat yourself up. I've been good at this in the past, and so don't beat yourself up. Just love yourself through it. If there's anything I can say, love yourself more, more, and more. And I'm continuing to do that too. It's a constant thing for all of us. And I'm just going to quick read the chat right here. Hi, Linda. Blessings to you as well. Thank you for joining in here. Okay, so now the piece about flying, and so this is fun. I'm trusting you've all had dreams about flying. I taught a class to middle schoolers last week, and they got to do a presentation on flying. And not flying, but they got to do a presentation on whatever they wanted. And one of the students did it on dreaming. And he talked about his dreams and how his hypothesis was that they were therapeutic and that we did healing during our dreams. And then I had the opportunity to ask the kids if they'd had flying dreams or if they'd had lucid dreams. And they got so excited. They were middle schoolers. to talk about this subject. I don't think they probably get the opportunity to talk about it much. And I was excited as well to hear other beautiful information around it. But flying dreams are very telling about where you're at and what you're claiming. I can remember one of my flying dreams, and I was flying in the high wires, or the electrical wires were getting in my way. And I was having to navigate through them, and why can't I get through all these? So telling about what these wires were. And at that time I was married, and I woke up and I shared with my husband the dream, and his comment was, well, just fly higher next time. Which I thought was very funny. He wasn't on the path of awakening, but really what he was saying from a higher level was just lift in consciousness, and you don't have to worry about these wires, right? Which is very, very true. But the wires are all our fears, they're all our doubts, they're all our attachments, they're all, they're not feeling safe. All of those things are the wires that get in the way of us flying free. And if we can just say yes to ourselves and love ourselves more, right, then we can lift higher, and we're free from all that. And I think we're all in this period now where we've claimed something. Now our bodies are speaking to us, and we're becoming aware of what we claimed and where we're at. And we're being shown exactly what we need to do so that when we enter the next month, April, which is experience, we will be ready for that. We will be ready. We're like polishing our wings, right? We're like in our nests. We claimed it. We're getting ready. We're taking care of our 5 spiritual bodies, and we're getting ready so we can launch ourselves into the time of experience. So I'm hoping that's what we're all going to do, is launch ourselves. So what I'd like to do briefly, because I'm so in love with the cards of clarity, I want to do a quick reading for everyone who might be listening. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Christina and Linda, for chiming in and saying hi in the chat. Love that. Got a reading for everyone. Okay, one card jumped out on its own. That's always a sign. And I'm just going to ask, what does all of whoever's listening here now need to know now? What are we experiencing and we need to know for our highest good? Okay. Wow. So we've got lots of ascended masters here. Lots of ascended masters today. I trust that everyone listening in is a master. So what we are getting to resolve is Archangel 3, Uriel. So that's what we are resolving right now. And I'm going to pull that up so I can read it. So we're ready to resolve Archangel Uriel. And I'm going to read that for you. The joy of transformation is surrounding you now. Enjoy this moment and feel the golden glow encircle your head. Can you accept the gift of being totally present with yourself? This transcends all emotional boundaries and opens the cosmic doorway for you to celebrate that you are alive now. And being here in this moment is a choice that you made from the space of pure love. Step into this transformation with a full recognition that the timing is perfect and all is in divine order. So we're all in a moment right now of transformation. And what we are getting ready to accept with ease and flow is Ascended Master 8, Yogananda. And I'm going to show you that as well. And so if you're listening via podcast, jump in and catch this. You can see the pictures of these. Here's Archangel 8, Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda. Are you a weekend spiritualist? This is the question and indeed the situation before you. It is time to stop just talking about how you wish your life to be and to start living it as a full-time occupation. The complete unity of your body, mind, spirit is your first priority. That's what we've been talking about all show. All healing will spontaneously come forward on all levels and for all situations when you commit to this unifying principle. Your words have no meaning here. It is your action that is seeking illumination. Dedicate yourself first to your sacred path. Decide in this moment right now the one practice that you can commit to doing every day. It can be as simple as a moment of conscious breath. However, the key to your unfoldment is to stick with this every day, not just when it is convenient. This dedication will bring forth empowered energy and new life. Okay, the energy that's in the gateway, Ascended Master 6, Crystalline Ray. I'll show you that. There we go, Ascended Master 6, Crystalline Ray. And this is what's headed right into the gateway. From the time we were born onto this glorious planet, we are ascending in one way or another. Children seek to ascend to become adults. Adults seek to ascend through their success. Yet the true ascension is the recognition that we are already whole, complete, and present to the love and light that we are. You are ascending into that state of being that carries with it great expansion of being. The way you have been living and expressing is rapidly changing. And with this recognition, you are ready to be open to greater truths and greater shifts. Know that you are prepared and that you are also a spiritual leader showing the way for others. All are ascending, each in their own time, in their own way. Stay focused upon you, and the rest will unfold beautifully. And so the very last one is Ascended Master 14, Yeshua. And this is what needs to be resolved before we enter that gateway, which was the crystalline ray. And so Ascended Master 14, Yeshua. Love without balance often leaves one feeling depleted and hollow. Gentleness and kindness without love are felt as obligatory and burdened. Look deeply into your life and call forth your divine gentleness into balance. To walk in the world as the master invokes a great duty that comes only from a space of balanced energy. This does not invite judgment, rather the recognition that sometimes a firm and loving presence is perfect. When you interact with anyone or anything with intentional balanced kindness, then you offer yourself as a model of love without judgment or limits. To all situations, remain focused on this divine knowing that your firm commitment to the truth of all situations will in always keep perspective and balance is the key focus, and misunderstanding is not possible. So I'm loving that. So everyone here is going through a transformation, a heart healing, and moving into a great place of expansion. So perfect. That's kind of what we've been talking about this whole show. And so I want to thank everyone for being here. Not my next show, but I'm headed to Ecuador, March 15th through the 30th. So I'm going to have a couple of my shows that will be actually hosted from the Andes Mountains during the WWA Global Summit. And if you don't know anything about that, please learn about it. Go to WWA Global Festival. It's a WWA Global Festival, and learn about it. This equinox is huge. It is an opportunity for all of us to come together, to create, and really to turn things around. And consciousness is the key to all of this. And this is an opportunity to shift consciousness for many. So please, please, please join us. I will be hosting some shows from there. And so you will feel the energy of this beautiful place. If you are doing equinox things with friends or gatherings, join in with us so we can all be together collectively creating with the Kenyari, with people who are in the forefront of expanding consciousness, and we can all do this together. So thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you have a beautiful week. And until next week, namaste.